guys, and welcome to episode 8 of the DSA Gardening Podcast. As you can see from the title, today we're going to be discussing Saltex, the Lawn Care Legends meetup, and booth takeovers, and the other stuff that went on down at Saltex. So it's now the 12th of November, so around a week after Saltex. I must admit, straight from the beginning, it was probably my favourite Saltex so far. I was there alone personally. Obviously, we had the meetups, and I was spent most of the time with people. But I actually travelled alone, stayed over the 2 nights alone, which was a little bit different, but also meant I could actually get a lot more done because I'm not worrying about if I'm just abandoning people with my million miles per hour, talking and rushing around like an idiot trying to get stuff done. So, as for the event itself, Saltex was a lot quieter than last year, but that seems to be the trend with it now. In 2019 and 2018, you could barely even move on the aisles for the first couple of hours, and the later hours it seems to be absolutely rammed. The last few times it's been slightly quieter. You can walk up and down the aisles. You can actually get onto the booths, onto the stands, and check out all the equipment, which was really good in a sense of ease of access to the whole area and such like that. It was a lot busier stands wise this year. Obviously, last year was the end of COVID. Not as many people was there. I think I saw just one empty booth, and there wasn't large open areas with nothing in it this time, which was really nice to see. The event had also had some of the bigger stands back, so Steel were back, Trackmaster was back, and a few of other manufacturers that wasn't there last year were back. The event itself, nothing much had changed about the layout or the entrance or anything like that. Same halls, same parking and everything, so at least I've got that down to a T. So Saltex itself, I travelled the night before. I met up with John, Paul, Kaz, Sheldon, Ben, Andy, and my brain, let me think. No, that was everyone that was there the night before, just like me. We had some food, a couple of drinks at the hotel, discuss what was going on at the event and such like that for the Lawn Care Legends side of it, and then just the general event itself. Day one, had my breakfast at the hotel, arrived at Saltex, and there was no queue to get in. Again, as I said, it was a little bit quieter. I got in, abandoned my bags at the luggage check-in, and just went round and went and met up with the reps I'd arranged to meet up with, went and discussed a few things with a few people, and then we had our first booth takeover, which for the LCL this year was the Toro booth. Really good showing, really nice merch was given. The event itself went down great. There was plenty of people at the stand. I estimate well over 50, 60 people, if not more. It's kind of difficult because there's people moving around you the whole time. Discussed a few of the new electric equipment, the battery, even not electric, that they was bringing out. Everyone at the meetup, except for a few because we run out, got a t-shirt, hat, and a drinks cup. Which was nice because they was only given out for them. There wasn't just given out generally at the show that day. So if you was at the LCL meetup, you got kind of like a LCL only merch in a sense. Before the Toro takeover, there was John's How to Start a Business talk in one of the GMA's theatres, which was really quite cool. I think it'll be one of the first times a social media groups main guy admin has done an official talk at the GMA. I might be wrong there, but I don't think it has been done before, especially one with the LCL branding, the Lawn Care Legends branding attached to it. So that was really good. After Toro's event and the morning event, I was getting very tired at this point. I'd been running around like a headless chicken, speaking with reps, talking to some other people, talking to people coming over to speak to me. 4 or 5 people came over and spoke to me about commercial setups and stuff like that, because obviously they'd seen via Instagram and a few of the previous podcasts that we was going commercial. So we had an event at 2 o'clock, and so about half past 12, I decided to go get something to eat. If anyone's ever been to the NEC and to the Saltex itself, you know that the Starbucks, the Subways, and everything outside is just rammed between 12 and 2 o'clock. I'm not one for going in spoons, and at 12 and 1 o'clock, again, absolutely crazy busy. But I've been to the NEC quite a few times, so I know a bit further down there's a few smaller eateries, so I walked all the way to the other end of the NEC, got a sandwich, sat down, and my phone rang. One of the local lads from around us was about to leave, and I arranged to say hello, so I walked back up to the halls, had a good chat with him, and realised that I'd missed the 2 o'clock event, which was the Arians booth takeover, which was really annoying because we had some media and some images involved with that for the booth takeover. When I arrived, the crowds had dispersed. There'd been multiple hats given out and such. I don't know 100% what they was talking about at the time, but I think it was their taking over of their purchase of AS mowers, and the fact that they was doing some works on the Sherpa and a few of the other rough cut mowers that they do. So I was kind of annoyed that I missed that one. I did explain myself to the reps on the Herons booth that I'd said I would be there, and I missed it, but joys of nattering on and just talking. So it's now around 2 o'clock. I'd arranged to meet with some other people from Instagram and from Lawn Care Legends, so I went and caught up with them guys, had a good chat with them. I run into Scott from SE Landscaping, which his YouTube's now changed to Scott Elwood Gardening, I think. So I don't know what it is with that. I'll have to ask him. I had a good night with him. I then went and caught up with who did I bump into then? So Sam J-Rock from J-Rock Lawn Care and J-Rock Lawn Care's podcast. I'd already said that I'd try and catch him at the show. It was really nice to catch him because I've got right into listening to his podcast, and that's kind of got me back into doing these. After that, we had the official Lawn Care Legends meet up inside the NEC main arena. This time, not inside one of the business centres at the side. It was actually in the Eco Village. A few things had gone wrong, which I won't go into. There's no point. If he was there, he was there. If he wasn't, he wasn't. So there's no point needing to know a few things had just gone wrong. But it was still good to catch up with. Amazingly, how many people had hung on until 4 o'clock. Got to speak to some of the members I'd never spoken to before. We had the group photo. We had a few interviews. It was a little bit different this year. There wasn't a main Lawn Care Legends award like the previous 3 years. Again, multiple reasons for that. If you're on the Lawn Care Legends page, keep an eye out on there for that. There's quite a lot going on in the background due to that. So that was day one. That's day one, i.e. inside the event. After that, I went and grabbed some food over at TGI Fridays because it was the world's worst rainstorm going on at the time. I went and had something to eat, as I said. The weather outside was absolutely horrendous. And me and Brendan, who was staying over there with us last year, he couldn't make it this year. It's where we went last year, so it was kind of like the new tradition. After that, we all went back to the main hotel that the group was staying at that point. I was staying in a slightly more different hotel a little bit further out. So I met up with everyone else again at the hotel. We didn't stay up as late this time. Everyone was absolutely crashing after day one. Doesn't sound like a lot, but a huge amount went on. It was very busy, a lot of talking, a lot of chatting, a lot of running about. So for day two, arrived 9 o'clock again. I went into another event at the NEC, the Leisure and Caravan one next door, to go talk to Stiga. Just have a general chat with them. As a lot of you people listening, we've done quite a lot of work with Stiga. We've done their battery range. We've done work with Mountfield, which they own. Not much with Atco, but they're the multiple companies they own. And I'd been informed that it was there, so I thought I'd go and have a quick chat with them, catch up, talk a few things, get some photos of their new stuff that they had on the stand, like the gyro, and just general chat. After that, it was coming up for 10 o'clock. I got into Saltex itself after grabbing a coffee. The good old, anyone that goes to Saltex knows, 40-minute wait for your Costa, which isn't Costa, it's Starbucks, for your Starbucks. Got into it on day two, went and straight away to go speak with a company called Ritchie and Ritchie Engineering. They do blades and stuff like that. At last year's event, they were showing a new multi-changeable, multi-functioning swing tip blade that you could fit onto a smaller mower. Been desperate for them ever since. They've made some design changes and hopefully they'll be on the market by January 2023, so they'll be cool to look out for. After that, I'd bumped into quite a few other people, so I bumped into Sam Girocky again, Mike Day, Robbie from Premier Lawns, quite a few guys actually. We had a good natter down near the Eco Village, caught up on a few things, discussed a few ideas. After that, I had to go call at the... Okay, what are they called now? Little Wonder? Yeah, Little Wonder. As we run the Little Wonder walk behind Blower, and they had the self-propelled version there, which would have been a nice thing to try and look at. Obviously, Saltex, you can't play with them, but it's also nice to actually get to see the equipment, feel the weight of it and such like that. So went over to there. I'd actually spotted them at like 4:30 the day before, and I said I'd call over, so I went over, got to discuss that with them. They actually had a chance to scan my barcode that you carry around, so they could send me the information over, which is better than carrying the catalogues. Mentioning catalogues and carrying stuff, I haven't mentioned up until this point for that fact. So, if anyone knows Reese, the kilted gardener, he is the ultimate merch man. He can find anything anywhere, and before anyone says it's a waste, he uses every single bit of it. He has uses for it, he finds uses for it, he gives it out to people. His wife uses the pens. So the hate that he gets for collecting it all, he uses it all, and he gets some good gear. It's amazing the stuff he carries. So over the couple of days I spoke with Reese, I'd seen all the gear he'd got. So again, Reese, amazing haul, mate, as usual. So what a tangent that was. So they'd emailed me all the files over that I wanted from Little Wonder, and at this point I was having to think about getting home. I'd wanted to get home a little bit earlier, so I thought I'd leave the site early and see if I could catch an earlier coach. I missed that, so I ended up getting the later one anyway, but hey ho, it was worth a try. The traffic around Birmingham at the minute, I don't know where it is, but the M42 and anything is absolutely horrendous. On day one and such, Tom, Jay, and all the other guys from LCL were about. It was nice to catch up with them. The best thing for me about Saltex is getting to catch up with the guys, getting to catch up with the admin, the guys on the page of LCL, the people that comment on his videos and on his Instagram and stuff like that. It's more of a networking and a catch-up event for me personally than an actual looking at the tools and messing about. I think overall, except for the pre-arranged stands, I probably looked into no more than 5 or 6 items. I knew which items I wanted to look at. I had them in my head. so I made sure I went to those booths. But other than that, I didn't really look at much of the new products. I looked at some of the new Ego stuff. I looked at some of the new battery stuff coming from Milwaukee. That was more of a, not gardening side of it, more of a just general. I even missed the Makita stand, which everyone knows I'm quite a big Makita fan. I seen a few of the videos that a few guys have put out, and I was like, oh, I didn't see that stand, I didn't see that stand, and I didn't see that stand. So I looked around the whole event. I did do that, but in between the talking to people, meeting the people I'd arranged to meet, talking to the other guys off Instagram and from Facebook and LCL, I really didn't see much of the tools, but I'm not massively bothered about that. The event for me is to catch up with everyone, have a good chat. I made a lot of new friends down there, people that I know through an LCL page but I've never personally met. I've now personally met them. It's nice to put a face to them. I bumped into my good old friend Alan, the first guy ever at a Saltex event to come up and say hello to me. So I don't know if you listen to the podcast, mate, but you know who you are, Alan Broad. And it was great to see you again. We've not actually looking at every single stand. I actually got to speak to some of the reps into more detail about more social media stuff. Ego guys, spoke to them about the lawnmowing simulator game and just nerdy stuff on that. Toro, I got to have a good chat about them moving their social media over to more non-physical media, to being using QR codes on products and stuff like that instead of the old-fashioned just printing a big book out with all the specs. Just add a PDF to a QR code and add it to some merch, and there you've got the product attached the whole time. Just general stuff like that, just more modernising things than actual product testing or product using or the products themselves. I did get a good chat about quite a few products that I was interested in. The Toro stand-on aerator, the little wonder blower, the gyro mower from Stiga, the Arians Apex, because we run the Icon and we want the Apex next. We wanted an Apex to start off with, but the Icon came at such a good price. That's what we went with. So I got absolutely tons done. That's why at the beginning I said it's personally one of my favourite Saltex events. Usually I'm concentrating on trying to get film footage or photographs and stuff like that, and this time I said to myself I'm not going to do stuff like that except for grabbing the odd photo here and there, especially when I was quieter on day 2. I got some photos. I've not really shared many of them except for some of the Stiga ones, and then just the silliness that was going on in the event, I've shared them ones obviously. So as I was saying at the beginning, it's personally my favourite event. It was nice to get to meet so many different people, actually have a chat to them about work, work related stuff and such. The staying over for 2 nights was so much better as well. There wasn't the travel fatigue for day 1 and then the rushing about for day 2. Everything was pre-planned. Obviously I wanted to get home earlier, so I hoped to catch an earlier coach, but again missed that, so who cares. But there was no major stress on rushing about, getting back for work or anything like that. I'd already well in advance planned ahead to make sure that everything was in place so we could spend as much time as we wanted. Obviously I ended up going by myself. There was supposed to be 5 of us originally. There was just different reasons for different people that they wasn't there, but again, it wasn't anything major. They didn't have to try and catch up with me, follow me about, and put up with me repeating myself 40 times as I'm asked by 40 different people the same questions. The other guys, they're not really into the social media side of stuff as much as I am, or the podcast or anything like that. That's why you've never heard them talking it. They will be on future ones. It's just, this is me sat in my studio just making a quick recording as I'm trying to get back into it. So again, the event was my favourite by far. It was great to see everyone. It probably is the best event of the year for that. Just to get to catch up with everyone, just have a natter, just in general. It was great as well to not come home with bags and bags and bags and bags of pamphlets. Just one bag this time. I mean, I got quite a bit of stuff, but it all fitted in one bag. And I think that's what changed. Only thing with Saltex, it'd be nice if we could try the products, but we can't. Luckily, being part of Lawn Care Legends, we have some Lawn Care Legends stuff coming up that we will be trying most of the products that we saw at Saltex from most of the brands that we have been working with over the years. So that'll be cool. They're coming up in 2023. Again, if you're on Lawn Care Legends, keep an eye out for that. One honourable mention I will come up with, and I never even spotted you, was Jack from Cut Crew Limited, the guy on YouTube that started Behind the Blades vlog. I did message him, I did arrange to try and meet up with him, but it seemed he was busy and I was busy and I just never bumped into him, which was a shame. Another one was Andrew Wayne, the fully charged gardener. I didn't catch up with you this time, mate, which was weird. I've bumped into you the last 2 years. I know you was there, but you seem to be busy again. It was great to bump into some of the guys that I've seen for multiple years and never had a chance to say hello to. So again, Mike Day. I did bump into Dave Warner this time, the long guy. He was there. I forgot to do a sticker swap, so if you're listening, bud, drop me a message. I'll send you a sticker. I would like one of yours for my PC that has all the stickers on it, and one for the Wall of Fame. It was great to see. Oh God, who else? Mix Mo was there again. Again, I didn't get a chance to chat with him. He was talking to people the whole time, and I didn't want to barge in and be rude. Seeing Scott again, SE Landscaping now, Scott Elwood Gardening. Always a great guy to chat to. He's already put his Saltex video up, so go on to YouTube and search SE Landscaping or Scott Elwood Gardening, and you'll find his channel. It's probably one of the better channels in the UK for just general gardening work, commercial side as such. Robbie was there with a microphone and a camera. That's Robbie of Premier Lawns. He was talking to a lot of people, and thanks for the shout out on Instagram, buddy. That was great to see. Who else? Obviously, all the LCL crew was there, so that was great again. It was nice to be able to sit down with John, Paul, Kaz, Andy, Ben, and the infamous Sheldon. Not many of you know who Sheldon is. He's one of John's friends. He's a giant South African guy, and he's probably one of the funniest guys I've ever met. And he's just Sheldon. That's the easiest way to put it. It was great to see him again. It's the second time I got to meet him. Me and him discussed very little about gardening, just other stuff. In general, we're very similar in many ways. So yeah, great event overall. Again, Jay and Tom, next year, lads, or at some point this year, we need to get together and have a proper sit down and a proper catch up. It wasn't the same without you two there at the hotel, but I know you've got stuff going on, so it's totally understandable. The other admins as well on LCL need to come down to the next one. I know you guys are busy, you are dealers, so you've got a lot going on this time of year. It's a busy time of year for services and shit like that. So it was a great event. It'll be even better next year because there's quite a lot going on with LCL next year. Keep an eye on the Lawn Care Legends page for that. Next, Saltex, we're going to be doing a giveaway again. I've already ordered some of the stuff to do the giveaway. The 2023 season, I'm going to do quite a lot on building the social media up again, and mainly so we can get back to the charity stuff. We have tried doing charity stuff without having the social media side attached, and it's just not worked as good. So we want to try and build that back up, and it was kind of like a very much a fun part of the work, and with it not being there at the moment, it just seems I just want to do it again. I just want to bring it back. So we will have hats and t-shirts and a few other giveaways that we'll have with us at Saltex next year. There is quite a few other events that will be coming in 2023, so Sage and a couple of others. Don't remember the names off my head because I've only heard of them recently. We may aim to try and get to a couple of them. It's just none of them are very local to us. They're all a good couple of hours travel. So we'll have to see which ones we go to. There's the LCL events coming up. There'll be also equipment to test and stuff like that. So it may be just the LCL ones that we do, and then the LCL event at Saltex, and us doing our own little thing at Saltex. That'll all be all over our social medias. So again, follow us on Instagram, DSA Gardening, YouTube, DSA Gardening. The Facebook is DSA Gardening. My personals, if you find me on Facebook, you can find my personals quite easily. The podcast should now be on every single podcast available that's regularly used. So Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Spotify. I spent quite a few hours setting that up, so they all should be available on there now. I have my mic set up much better, so the audio should be better. It's actually programmed in properly now. If there is an issue with the audio, I will keep working on that. I need to put my better mic in, but at the minute I'm just using the cheaper one. That's why there's a few distortions on it. But that is what it is. Other than that, episode 9 will be with us in 2 weeks' time. At the most, might be a little bit early because I've got quite a few bits planned. If anyone's got any questions or anything like that, again, social medias, just add them up on there. Sorry about the rambling on this one. I did have a list to go through. I don't know where I've put it, so I've just gone through what I can remember from it. I will be scripting the podcast from now, so it should be a lot less of the back and forth. So if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Follow us on all the other things. If possible, could you leave us a review on the podcast? It's more so when I do the algorithm-based stuff, it helps out with that, because there will be tags hidden inside the podcast algorithm stuff. If anyone ever wants to know about that, just ask me about it and I can talk you through it. So thanks again for listening, and as my grandma would say, because I'm recording this on a night, good night, God bless.